Riot Quest is a fast-moving, highly unpredictable skirmish board game for 2 to 4 players where you and your crew of heroes battle for loot against rival scavengers across a dynamic battlefield with constantly evolving scenario conditions. In the arena, your heroes can grab coins dropped by knocked-out opponents, plunder pop-up treasure chests, cash in on a multitude of bounties. All that loot can be spent to buy Riot gear, so you can kit out your crew and get more loot. Before you can start kicking butt, grabbing all that sweet, sweet treasure, you'll need to recruit a crew of heroes that can get the job done. Each hero has a corresponding stat card showing their unique set of skills and expertise. Each hero belongs to a certain class: fighter, gunner, guard, scout, specialist, or rogue. Classes are important for interacting with bounty cards and treasure chests. Additionally, each class has an associated ability, and all heroes of the same class have this ability in common. A hero's speed is how many spaces the model can move on the grid when it performs a run action. The model's defense stat determines how hard it is to hit this model with an attack. The defense stat has 2 numbers. The first is the number of strikes your opponent must roll during a single attack to hit this model. The second is the number of strikes your opponent must roll to also score super damage on the model in addition to hitting it. Stamina is how much damage a model can take before being knocked out. A model's special abilities are listed on its stat card, first by the name of the ability and then a description of its effect. A model's attack options are represented by its weapon stat bars. A model must have a melee weapon to make melee attacks and a ranged weapon to make ranged attacks. The range icon indicates how many spaces away the target of an attack can be from the attacking model. The dice icons show the number of blue boost dice and red power dice that you roll, in addition to any action dice spent when making an attack with this weapon. Once the map and card decks for the game have been chosen, each player chooses the models on their crew. Your crew can include as few as 5 models or as many as 10. You can also choose a number of Riot gear cards equal to the size of your crew. Models on your crew begin the game on your bench, ready to be spawned into play. The arena map is where all the mayhem in Riot Quest takes place and determines where your heroes spawn into battle, what type of terrain they must traverse, where treasure chests are located, and the position of other key elements that can affect the course of the game. Shuffle the bounty deck, place it next to the arena map, then flip over the top 2 cards to reveal the first bounties. Bounty cards represent goals each player is attempting to achieve to score victory points. In Riot Quest, the first player to score 7 victory points wins the game. During a player's turn, when that player meets the requirement listed in the goal of a bounty, the player immediately claims the bounty and scores the number of VPs equal to the card's value. The setup of some bounty cards includes placing various bounty tokens on the arena map. A token can be picked up when a hero enters its space. Put the token on a hero stat card to indicate that hero is holding it. A hero cannot hold more than 1 bounty token at a time. If a hero holding a token is knocked out or removed from the arena for any reason, the token is placed in the space the hero was occupying before being removed. Shuffle the treasure deck and draw the top card. Roll a d6 to determine which treasure beacon space the treasure chest spawns in and place the appropriate chest token there. After the map and cards are ready, it's time for the heroes to enter the battle. Each player rolls 6 action dice. The player who rolls the most strikes wins this setup roll, spawns the first hero, and begins the first round of the game with priority. To spawn a hero, start by selecting a model from your bench. Roll a d6 to determine which spawn gate the hero spawns to. Place that hero in any unoccupied space adjacent to that spawn gate. To complete the setup, players take turns spawning in heroes until each player has spawned 4. There are 4 kinds of dice in Riot Quest: white action dice, blue boost dice, red power dice, and a d6. Action dice are the basic resource of Riot Quest. Many of the actions a hero can perform during an activation require spending at least 1 action die. Your 6 action dice begin the game in your dice well. Boost and power dice are special dice rolled when a hero attacks with a weapon, when they rig, or because of certain abilities or special circumstances. Riot Quest is played in a series of rounds in which players alternate activating one of their heroes to perform actions until one player has succeeded in snagging victory. A round consists of 3 phases. The priority roll is when players roll off to determine who begins this round's go time with priority. This roll is a lot like the setup roll players make at the start of the game. Go time is when most of the action will take place. The cooldown is when players return their action dice to their dice well, evacuate heroes, and determine which of their models leave the cooler. When your turn begins, if you have less than 4 heroes in play, immediately spawn heroes from your bench until you have 4 in play. If you do not have enough available heroes, spawn as many as possible. Remember that heroes in the cooler cannot be spawned into play. Next, choose one of your heroes in play that does not have any action dice on its stat card and activate it. When a model activates, it can spend action dice from your dice well to perform any of the following 5 actions: run, attack, raid, rig, or take a special action. A model can perform any combination of these 5 actions during a single activation as long as enough action dice are available, but a model can perform each action only once per activation. Place the action dice spent on that hero's card. These remain on the card until they are removed during the cooldown phase at the end of the round. Remember, a hero cannot be activated later in the round if it has any action dice on its card. When you want to move one of your models by running, you first spend an action dice from your dice well and move the model up to a number of spaces equal to its speed stat. Models can move in any direction and can move through the same space as a model in their own crew. They cannot move through the same space as an enemy unless they have a special rule. No model can end its movement on a space occupied by another model. The spaces on the arena map represent various types of terrain. The majority of spaces on an arena map are open terrain spaces and do not restrict the model's movement. Obstacle spaces are counted twice when a model moves into them. They are highlighted in hazard markings. While a model is in an obstacle space, it gains cover. A model with cover gains +1 defense. This affects both the first and second defense stat of a model, making it harder to damage them normally and to cause super damage. Spawn gates and treasure beacons are barrier spaces. Models cannot enter or move across barrier spaces unless they have an ability that lets them do so. A model cannot end its movement on a barrier space. There are 2 basic forms of attack in Riot Quest: melee attacks and ranged attacks. To make an attack, first choose the weapon the hero making the attack will use, and then choose a target within the range of that attack. You must roll at least 1 action dice from your dice well to make an attack, but you can use any number of action dice currently in your dice well to increase your chance of hitting your target. The weapon stat indicates how many boost dice and power dice you add to your roll when making the attack. Riot gear and abilities can add or subtract dice as well. Once you've gathered all your dice, roll them, count up the total number of strikes, and compare that total to the defense of your target. If the total number of strikes is equal to or greater than the target's defense, the attack is successful and hits the target. After the attack is resolved, place all the action dice used in the attack on your hero's card. All attacks cause the target to suffer 1 point of damage when they hit. However, if the attack roll results in enough strikes to equal or exceed the target's second defense stat, they suffer 1 additional point of damage. This is called super damage. And don't forget, even though many heroes will have more than 1 weapon available to them, they can only make 1 attack each activation. Each model has a set amount of stamina that determines how much damage it can suffer before being knocked out of play. Models are knocked out when they suffer damage equal to or greater than their stamina. When a model is knocked out, it is taken off the arena map and placed in its controller's cooler. Place 1 loot token on the map in the space the model occupied. Any riot gear cards that model had equipped are discarded. Any action dice already spent on that model this round remain on that model's card until the cooldown phase. Each time a hero knocks out an enemy, the controlling player claims a scrap card. Each scrap card earned is worth 1 victory point. An active hero can raid a treasure chest by spending 1 action die while adjacent to the chest. However, if the special rules on the treasure card match the class of the hero raiding it, the hero can raid the chest without spending an action die. When a chest is raided, remove the chest token from the beacon. The raiding player immediately rolls a boost die and receives the benefit found on the treasure table for the treasure card in play. The treasure card is then discarded next to the treasure deck. The goal of some bounty cards will require heroes to rig a particular element, typically a bounty token, in order to claim the bounty. Rigging can be performed during a hero's activation, and an action die must be spent in order to do so. If a bounty card requires rigging, the rig bonus indicates the type of hero that receives an extra die when attempting the rig. When a hero rigs, roll 3 boost dice. If the total number of strikes rolled is 3 or more, the rig is successful. Otherwise, it fails. If the hero performing the rig receives a bonus, roll a power die in addition to the 3 boost dice. A hero may also spend an action die to perform a special action listed on their hero's card. When a player is done activating their hero, priority proceeds to the next player in clockwise order, and their turn begins. At the beginning of each player's turn, if there is no treasure chest on the map, spawn a new chest from the treasure deck. If there are not 2 active bounty cards, draw and resolve the setup of bounty cards until there are 2 active cards. If your turn begins and you cannot activate a model, you must pass. Once you have passed, you will not have another turn until the next round. After all players have passed, the cooldown phase of the round begins. First, remove all action dice from your heroes. Next, each player has the option to evacuate one of their heroes in play. Starting with the last player to have priority this round, each player can return one of their heroes in play to their bench. For a hero to be evacuated, the hero must be undamaged, the hero must be on or adjacent to the center hex of the arena map. After the evacuation step, you determine which of your heroes in the cooler are returned to your bench by rolling a number of action dice equal to the number of models in your cooler. For each strike rolled, you can move one hero from the cooler to your bench. Finally, return all of your action dice to your dice well. And now a new round begins. Throughout a game of Riot Quest, heroes run around the arena gathering up loot tokens and raiding treasure chests. When one of your models enters a space with 1 or more loot tokens on it, you gain those loot tokens. Collect all the loot you can, but a player may not have more than 10 loot tokens at any time. Once you've collected some loot, you can use it to buy Riot Gear. Riot Gear cards are upgrades that heroes can equip to become stronger, trickier, and more durable. You can equip gear on your heroes by spending loot tokens equal to the card's loot cost. Then, place the loot gear card alongside the hero's stat card. That hero now benefits from the Riot Gear's effect. Each hero can have only 1 piece of gear equipped at a time. However, you can choose to equip a piece of Riot Gear on a hero that's already equipped with gear. If you do so, you must return the previous equipped Riot Gear card to your hand. Now you are ready to jump into the Riot Quest arena and start smashing. So get your fighting pants on. It's time to gear up, wreck face, and get paid.